Hey everyone, Happy New Year. It is a new year, 2024. Thank you for joining me tonight. For those who don't know me, my name is SAHIRA ANAISA Al FENICE, and this is my show, A Little Hint of Magic, airing every first and third Fridays of the month on the Magical Witchy channel. Please tune in. So, as we start the year, I wanted to discuss a topic that I think would be, really important as we start this year, and that is creating your energy shield of protection. So, what we're going to be discussing today are a few things. What is a psychic attack? What is grounding? What is shielding? And then I'm going to just give you a couple of simple techniques for both grounding and shielding so that way you can integrate that into your spiritual hygiene routine. So, let's get to it. So, what is a psychic attack? So, anytime someone sends you negative energy, you're experiencing a psychic attack. All anyone has to do is send you negative thoughts or wish you ill, and that negative energy actually does affect you, believe it or not. Sometimes it may even be not intentional. So, we've all had our moments. We're on a crowded subway if you're in New York City, or if you're stuck in traffic, if you're driving and commuting to work, and someone just pisses you off. Just their very presence just sets you off. Something about their energy just doesn't merge with yours. It doesn't, y'all don't get along energetically. And the next thing you do, you say, I wish that person would. That's a psychic attack. Okay. Please note that most psychic attacks are not actual attacks, but self created illusions, right? So, we live in an era of paranoia, right? Everyone's out to get us. Everyone is hexing us. Everyone is cursing us. Everyone wishes us ill. Mal de ojo, the evil eye, all that good stuff. I want to explain to you guys that the majority of people don't even see us. They don't care about us. They don't care about you, right? So sometimes we create self-fulfilling prophecies with our paranoia and our negative thoughts. It is us that is affecting our stability. It is us, ourselves. We're affecting our, we're engaging in disharmony. And that is why we feel that way. But keep in mind that the source of the attack does not minimize the severe impact that this negativity has on our psyches. So it doesn't matter if it was external, it doesn't matter if it's your mama, your daddy, your sisters, your brothers, your children, you yourself, that is inspiring this negativity. It doesn't matter because the trauma is real no matter who it comes from. It's real. We feel it in our bones, in our psyche, right? So here's some symptoms of a psychic attack. One, which a lot of people can understand this one, you feel like you're being watched, especially when you're alone. So that feeling that someone is watching you, almost like someone is spying on you, right? That may not be complete paranoia. It may be a psychic attack. The sense of heaviness or pressure, like someone is sitting on you. We've all seen those like old school diagrams and pictures of like these little demonish kind of impy creatures sitting on women's and men's, stomachs as they're sleeping and inhaling their energies. Those are psychic vampires or succubi, right? There is such a thing. These things do possibly happen. That is not always the case, though. So you always have to investigate and really, really, really believe in your intuition and trust it. Another thing, you may hear scary voices, especially in your mind. But understand that a lot of these symptoms may also be related to mental unhealthiness. So, what I always suggest is, although I do have a mental health certification, right? I am not a doctor. I invite you, if you're experiencing these things and they are completely, kind of obstructing your life, you just can't live a normal life, please get some professional help, right? Go see a doctor just in case. Cover all your bases. The next symptom may be obsessive thoughts, right? Vivid, recurring dreams, a slow and steady drain of personal energy. So that happens a lot of times. The drain of energy happens a lot of times with energy vampires, right? We've all had, an instance where we've been invited to go out for coffee with a close friend and maybe a best friend. And the next thing you know, he or she is talking or they're talking and you're draining and you're draining. You feel almost like you're falling asleep. You can't focus. You're cloudy. They're sucking the energy out of you. They're sucking the life out of you. And a lot of times they don't even know they're doing it. So please be mindful of your surroundings, of the people that you keep time with, all that good stuff. Another thing, you suddenly become accident prone. You could be the most graceful person. I'm not, but you could be the most graceful person, and all of a sudden you fall down them stairs and you break your toe, right? It's not even like breaking your leg. It's like something annoying, like you break your toe. Like you could still walk, you're not walking in a cast, but it's uncomfortable and it debilitates you. Things like that. And then lastly, a long chain of events that can be thought of as bad luck. So, especially when it affects your personal, financial, or romantic areas of your life. So, like, let's say, financially, you have just a slew of negative events happening in your financial life. Someone hacks into your bank accounts and you can't access your money, then you lose your job. All of a sudden the company shuts down and you lose your job. So no fault of your own. It just kind of like one day you had a job and the next day you didn't. And then lastly, you lose your wallet. Those aren't things that normally happen, especially in that kind of cadence. So I invite you to investigate and find out if you're being psychically attacked. And there are way more symptoms than the ones I mentioned. So again, understand your situation, understand what's going on in your life, always investigate. So that brings me to, so how do we determine when we're being psychically attacked by an external source, right? By someone on the outside, not necessarily us. One thing you could do is you can divine, right? You yourself, if you've divined, if you throw cards, if you play with your pendulums, if you believe in these sources and feel comfortable, I invite you to divine for yourself. But if not, you can also ask a trusted expert to divine on your behalf. Another thing that you can do is, which is a little more empowering because you do this yourself, is doing a scan. You perform a scan of your aura. So you go into meditation and you scan yourself psychically. You go through your aura to determine if there are any blockages or even cords, holes, tears, cords that are attached, right? Because those things are psychic attacks, right? And if you do determine that you do have these cords or holes in your aura, please do a cleansing, right, on your body, like the way I mentioned on the show of September 1st on spiritual hygiene. If you need a refresher, I definitely invite you to go to YouTube and check out the Magical Witchy World channel. And it's a September 1st show on spiritual hygiene. Check that out, please. It is so very important. And again, it's putting the power back in your hands. So let's talk about grounding a little bit. So what is grounding? I want to explain to you, and I want to reiterate, highlight everything that emphatically brings your attention to this. Grounding is not an act. Grounding is not a verb. Grounding isn't something that you do. Grounding is a state of being. It's like nirvana. It's a state of being. You don't do grounding. You are grounded, right? When we lose presence in our bodies and surroundings, we become ungrounded. It feels like a part of us has actually left us. We feel like we're missing something, right? When we experience trauma, a part of our energy detaches from our body. Now, we might be able to get it back, right? And get it to reintegrate like a soul retrieval. More about that later on, right? That's another show. Or it might leave us completely and never return, right? But one thing that I can tell you is we can discourage these situations from arising by having our energy more anchored to our bodies and to the world. So grounding is so 100% necessary for everything, not just because you're a spiritual person and you want to be like one with, no. It's for your sanity. It's for your psychic hygiene. It's for everything. Just please learn to ground and stay in that state. Now, grounding can be more difficult than we think. I understand that. We're constantly being, we're encountering forces that throw us off balance. We're suffering shocks and trauma. We either take on too much energy or too much energy sucked out of us, both positive and negative, right? So whenever we're not balanced, we become ungrounded, right? Just the act of allowing your mind to wander to the point where you feel loopy and disconnected, that can cause you to become disconnected from your present, and it results in ungrounding. But stay positive. The cure is easier than you think to find, right? So, a couple of simple techniques for grounding, right? One is body awareness. Bringing your awareness to your body is very powerful, right? Being present, feeling the way your muscles are flowing, stretching, performing gentle movements like yoga, where you're mindful of the sensations of your muscles and you're being brought back into your body. So you're so conscious of your body, right? You want to do things like that, right? Walking in nature, being one with nature, those things. And as a matter of fact, speaking of nature, another technique that you can use that is super simple and super easy is called earthing, right? It's one of the easiest ways to ground, right? Because what we do is we just make actual contact with the ground, right? We walking barefoot in grass, sitting at the base of a tree, smelling the earth after a rainfall, so many other ways. Being in a garden and enjoying that garden, the aromas, the colors, the vibrancy of a garden, things like that, right? Do not worry though. I want you guys to understand that any negative or harmful energies that we're grounding into the earth for neutralization does not hurt the earth in any ways. The earth is mighty and powerful, and the earth is here for us so that we can keep that connection established. So I don't ever want you guys to feel like you may be doing something negative to the earth. Like when we, you know, throw plastics in repositories, and of course plastics, they don't disintegrate, they don't go away, they last forever, and they contaminate, right? We're not contaminating the earth. We are asking the earth to do the job, that one of the jobs actually that the earth is not only happy to do, but that it's here to do, right? So what's shielding? Now, one thing that I always say is remember that a good offense is always a good defense, right? Always protect yourself before an attack happens. Always, right? And how do we do this? By shielding. Just walking about your normal day can expose you to people's energy. Many of us, especially those that are psychically gifted, tend to absorb energy, both positive and negative. So that's why shielding is so incredibly important for us. Few people know how to manipulate their auras to constantly change and adapt their energetic boundaries, right? To increase protection. So a lot of us don't know that when we're feeling uncomfortable or challenged in an environment, that we can easily just send a signal mentally to kind of focus our shields a little tighter. People don't actually know that they can do that. And yes, you can. Your shield is part of you. You can. Your aura is you. Yes, you can. Right? You can connect to your auric energy to place an intention of protection, right? And to build stability within it. If you intend and feel your protective space, you will create it. So it's like if you build it, they'll come, right? If you build your auric shield, it'll protect you from all the negative nasties, I promise, right? And one thing I want to say about your shielding also is shielding, it's not about reflecting energy. So you don't build a shield so that, oh, the negatives bounce off of me and sticks onto you, I'm rubber, your glue, like that kind of thing. No, that's not what the purpose of the shield is. The purpose of the shield is to create strong boundaries that will not permit, will not allow negative energies to pass. So think about it for all those folks that are into Lord of the Rings like me. I'm a nerd, I can't help it. If you remember Gandalf, right? I think it was the second movie. I can't remember. Gandalf is trying to protect the team, the hobbits, and everyone that is on the journey, right? To save the earth and to save everyone's lives, right? So Gandalf steps on a rocky cliff, puts his staff down forcefully, and says, "You shall not pass," right? So when I think of Gandalf, I think of Gandalf as a protective spirit. So when I'm doing auric work, sometimes if I'm feeling unsafe or I feel like I need a little bit of protection, I kind of inspire the spirit of Gandalf into my shield because I know that Gandalf will save me every single time, right? So you can do things like that. Be creative, be intentional. It's not that difficult, I promise you. It's not. What makes it difficult is the obstacles that we put in our way, in our path, the challenges that we kind of wrap around ourselves. It's not that difficult, I promise you. As a matter of fact, it's so incredibly easy. It's instinct, right? So when you're working with your boundaries, you must first energetically heal any holes in your aura, right? When we experience trauma again, our energy bodies also get traumatized. And this results in blockages, holes, rips, tears in our aura. So before we even begin to power up our shields, we need to make sure that our auras are healthy, right? So with the intent through meditation, we can seal those holes and remove those blockages. It's as easy as scanning our aura, as I explained earlier. We intentionally send positive healing energies to those areas. Once the meditation is complete, conduct a divination. Make sure you're all healed up. And don't be discouraged if you find out you need more healing sessions. Most of us do. Most of us don't get healed up immediately. It doesn't happen. So just be patient with yourself and trust in your intuition. So, a simple technique to create and control your shield. And I learned this very, very early in my studies. It's called the creative sphere protection. So, what you do is you get into a light meditative state. After you've sealed your holes, remove those blockages from your aura, please remember that that's an important step. You imagine the outer edge of your aura crystallizing. You imagine yourself in a large crystal egg or in a sphere. I like a sphere because I feel like an egg, it's kind of weaker at the point. I'd rather have a nice round surface area with a sphere. Make sure it's translucent to allow energies that you need to pass into it, and it reflects and neutralizes harmful and unwanted energies. You can actually crystallize the energy fields not just around yourself, but around your home, your car, your children, your pets, anything you want to protect. One thing that I ask, please, 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 stay away from including people without their consent. If it's a consenting adult, ask for permission first before you try to shield them. I know you're trying to protect them, but we must always ask for consent because permission is everything. So always ask for consent. So here I presented just a few techniques for grounding and shielding. There's so many more. And I invite you to take a few minutes or as long as you need to determine which method works best for you. Do your research, Google it, look at your, texts and figure out which one is the best for you, which one fits you and your lifestyle. And I strongly suggest, as a part of your spiritual hygiene routine, that you try to cleanse your aura daily to keep it in its very best condition. That is the number one way to fight psychic attack, is to make sure that your aura is completely healthy. So, as we come to the end of our time together this week, I want to make sure that you can connect with me to ask questions, share any info, suggest any future topics. Your input is so necessary, and I want to hear from all of you. Please follow and DM me at A Little Hit of Magic, and that's magic with a CK at the end. Don't forget. So thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on February 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern. Unfortunately, I have a Muggle life conflict and had to skip my show originally scheduled for January 19th. I'm so sorry, and I'm gonna miss you guys. But guess what? We're gonna be back together on February 2nd, where we'll be blending your self-love EO's roller blend just in time for Valentine's Day. Aye. I'll be posting the ingredient list so that you can blend with me on my IG at A Little Hint of Magic. Please look forward in the next few days. Have a wonderful weekend and blessed be. Thank you all.